At 9:27 a.m. on News and Views this morning, we have learned about the Hawks, the commercial crime unit investigating criminal complaints, and this includes fraud that is brought against Charl Cilliers and Diane of the Insure Group managers. And after discovering unlawful business practices, leaving the insurance industry 1.7 billion rand out of pocket. We joined on the line this morning by journalist at Daily Maverick, Pauli van Wyk. Pauli, good morning to you. Welcome to the show.
Good morning to you and your listeners. Thank you for having me.
Pauli, what do we know about this fraud that has been committed? This is huge. This is massive. We're talking about 1.7 billion rand.
Yes, it's quite an intricate story. So I started writing about it earlier this year, and in essence, we must understand that Insure Group Managers is a financial intermediary that has its job as a premium collector. So in essence, it collects yours and my premiums, and then it hands it over to the Santams and Hollards and Guardrisks of this world. Now, in between the collecting and the paying over, the unlawful act happened. So what they did was not to pay it over immediately as the law and their contract stated, but they rather utilized the hundreds of millions of rand that they collect each month to invest in their own very illiquid and high-risk investments. Some of their colleagues and people who knew them well called it harebrained investments. So we know that these weren't smart decisions. Now, as with these things, it's Ponzi scheme-like in that you take away money that's supposed to go elsewhere, and you will always have a money deficit. Now, to plug that hole, they ensured that they got a 250 million loan facility with VBS Bank so that the ship will always stay afloat. So whenever there's a cash flow problem, they would just loan from VBS Bank and the money would be repaid again. The problem came and the skeleton stumbled out of the closet the moment VBS Mutual Bank imploded in March 2018 because of completely separate illegal acts. Now, what happened then is that Insure didn't have the buffer that it used to have, and it ran into a massive cash crunch. At the time, they had to file for voluntary curatorship, and investigation ensued, and that showed that there was a massive unlawful conduct, and that the total money paid not paid over to around 45 insurance companies was about 1.7 billion rand.
Yes. Now, we've seen the response coming through from Cilliers and from Burns, and obviously saying that she's not aware of the criminal complaints brought against, but the insurance companies haven't treated this lightly. They've taken this right up at the highest level to the extent that they have got the Hawks, the commercial crime unit, investigate this thing fully, or so that we can unpack what had actually happened.
Yeah, indeed. So the insurance companies are obviously obliged in law to ensure that justice be done and to report crimes as they see it. So this is what they're doing. They have initiated civil litigation in order to get their money back, but they've also laid criminal complaints, which include fraud and contraventions and breaches of the Short-Term Insurance Act and its regulations. And because of the large amount we're talking about, 1.7 billion rand, the case has been moved to the Hawks and the Serious Commercial Crimes Unit.
Yes. Now, obviously, this is massive. This is huge, and obviously caused a lot of or raises a lot of questions with regards to integrity. But also, I think for an insurance industry, this actually means a lot because we know that insurance companies are under huge pressure. They're under massive pressure at this point in time, and this obviously must have impacted heavily on their cash flows and their ability to conduct business as usual.
Yes, it is a very important happening to note in the broader industry. Fortunately, the large insurers like Santam and Hollard and Guardrisk and Old Mutual, which collectively lost 944 million in this scheme, had a bank balance that could take the knock. So where they will make up the money is obviously a question that they need to answer for, because I'm sure they're not going to just take, just take the knock. The problem is actually with the smaller insurers who, in relative terms, didn't lose as much money, but the money that they lost had a much larger impact on them. For example, the smaller insurers would have lost 18 million or 5 million, but it impacted their cash flow severely, and that would obviously impact premiums that they collect and the claims that they need to pay out. Two of these companies, small insurers, one which is Line of Africa, closed their doors because they just couldn't take one additional knock. And that is one of the big problems on the conscience of Charl Cilliers and Diane Burns and Insure as a whole.
Pauli, we're going to be following developments and obviously with a lot of interest. But for now, we need to thank you for taking time out talking to us this morning here on Cilliers Media. All the best to you. Please take care.
Thank you for having me, and I wish you well as well as your listeners.
Pauli van Wyk, journalist at Daily Maverick, unpacking this insurance fraud that had taken place, 1.7 billion rand.
These days, I'm more health conscious than ever. So tonight, it's stir fry for dinner, cooked in healthy Helios pure sunflower cooking oil. Helios is pure sunflower goodness, packed with omega-6. That's good for your heart, and is approved as part of the Heart and Stroke Foundation eating plan. Dinner's ready! Helios, pure sunflower cooking oil. A healthy family is a happy one.
A strip of land with over 2 million people blockaded for 13 years. Healthcare is on its knees, food is scarce, and water is inadequate. COVID has wreaked havoc in the lives of the people of Gaza. 53